kindergarten.
Hi, first grade. So today we want to read you two different books. They are both fiction, but one of them is what we call realistic fiction. So this is plain old fiction, and this didn't really happen, and you can tell it's fiction by just reading it, and by the fact that there's like a wolf wearing a chef hat and looks like he's reading a cookbook. Little things like that let you know that it's fiction, okay? This one actually is what we call realistic fiction. So this never happened. It's not a true story. Remember, if it's true, it's nonfiction. So this one is actually, it looks like it's kind of a fiction story because you can tell there's pictures that were drawn, although sometimes books can be pictures that are drawn and it's still nonfiction. But this is something that could have actually happened. Like it's a believable real life story, but it didn't really happen. Somebody made this up. So, but the characters, there's no talking cat, there's no flying cow, there's nothing that makes it seem like it couldn't happen. So if it could happen, but it didn't, it's called realistic fiction. And if it just really couldn't happen, it's just fiction, okay? So we'll start with The Wolf's Chicken Stew by Kiko Casa. Didn't we read them?
Yeah, we read My Lucky Day.
So you guys kind of know this author already. All right, we'll let Kayla give it a whirl first here.
There once lived a wolf who loved to eat more than anything else in the world. As soon as he finished one meal, he began to think of the next.
Yeah, look at him dreaming away.
Sounds like me.
One day, the wolf got a terrible craving, which means he really wanted it bad, got a terrible craving for chicken stew. All day long, he walked across the forest in search of a delicious chicken. Finally, he spotted one. Ah, she is just perfect for my stew, he thought.
The wolf crept closer, but just as he was about to grab his prey, which means that's what he's wanting to eat.
Dun, dun, dun. Just as he was about to grab his prey, he had another idea. If there were just some way to fatten this bird a little more, he thought, there would be all the more stew for me. So
the wolf ran home to his kitchen and he began to cook.
La 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 la. There he is. See, this is how we know it's fiction, because wolves don't cook, right? At least none I've ever met. Whoa, check out those pancakes. First, he made 100 scrumptious, which means really tasty, pancakes. Then late at night, he left them on the chicken's porch. Eat well, my pretty chicken, he cried. Get nice and fat for my stew.
I'm not sure if I held that up all the way. The next night, he brought 100 scrumptious donuts. Eat well, my pretty chicken, he cried. Get nice and fat for my stew. Yummy.
Wow, could you imagine
different kinds?
Someone drops that at your door and they're homemade? Oh my goodness. And on the next night, he brought a scrumptious cake weighing 100 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Eat well, my pretty chicken, he cried. Get nice and fat for my stew.
Oh my goodness. At last, all was ready. This was the night he had been waiting for. He put a large stew pot on the fire and set out joyfully to find his dinner.
There he is. He's heading to the chicken's house. This does not look, maybe we should stop.
Yeah.
No, let's move on. We'll read Charlie Anderson now.
Yeah, we get the point that it was fiction,
Yeah.
like just regular fiction.
You don't need to hear the rest.
Yeah.
It could get kind of icky. So I can kind of sense their irritation with us. Are you guys irritated?
Are you irritated?
All right, we'll keep going. You make us. So he headed out to find his dinner. That chicken must be as fat as a balloon by now, he thought. Let's see. But as he peeked into the chicken's house,
The door opened suddenly and the chicken screeched, "Oh, so it was you, Mr. Wolf."
And he's like, huh?
Busted.
Yeah, wasn't me. Uh-oh.
That literally is his face. Wasn't me.
Uh-oh, look at this.
Oh no!
Children, look, the pancakes and the donuts and that scrumptious cake, they weren't from Santa Claus. All those presents were from Uncle Wolfie.
Oh, Uncle Wolfie. I'm betting he's not liking being called Uncle Wolfie.
He's like, uh-oh.
The baby chicks jumped all over the wolf and gave him 100 kisses. "Oh, thank you, Uncle Wolf. You're the best cook in the world."
Aw, look at that. They love him. How is he going to eat any of those chicks or chicken? That would be not good. Oh, look at his face. I feel like he kind of liked them. Uncle Wolfie didn't have chicken stew that night, but Mrs. Chicken fixed him a nice dinner anyway. Ah, shucks, he thought as he walked home. Maybe tomorrow I'll bake the little critters 100 scrumptious cookies. So now he's I think he kind of likes them, and they're like family. And there they are.
And there's the 100 scrumptious cookies.
So
what a cute one.
Instead of getting a chicken for dinner, he got a family. That's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
All right. So this was fiction. So that was literally, not a believable story. So, chickens and wolves don't go around talking. Right now we have Charlie Anderson, and this is actually a believable story, and it's super clever, but it's realistic fiction, which means it feels like it could really have happened, but it didn't.
But it didn't.
Oh, and this is Charlie Anderson by Barbara Abercrombie and illustrated by Mark Graham. Lots of intro pages.
One cold night, a cat walked out of the woods, up the steps, across the deck, and into the house where Elizabeth and Sarah lived.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
So there's a cat walking right in. See, their door's open a little bit. He curled up next to their fireplace to get warm. He watched the 6 o'clock news on TV. He tasted their dinner. He tried out their beds. Hold on, because don't you get a little bit of a sort of like Goldilocks feel here?
Yeah.
He just let himself in and he's trying out all their stuff. But literally, could a cat let himself in and do all this stuff? Sure could.
He decided to stay, and the girls named him Charlie. Every morning, Charlie disappeared into the woods again.
So there they are, like, oh, where's he going? He's going back into the woods. But he comes to their house every night. At night, when he came home, Elizabeth brushed him clean, fed him dinner, and made a space for him at the foot of her bed. He liked Elizabeth's bed the best. Sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night and hear him purring in the dark. And that means, and that means that he literally is a happy cat when he's purring like that.
Sarah called him baby and dressed him up in doll clothes.
I used to do that with my dogs when I was little. When it snowed, Elizabeth and Sarah's mother heated Charlie's milk before he left for the woods. He grew fatter and fatter, and every day he purred louder and louder. Look what a happy cat he is.
He's so happy.
He's content, I think. That means he's just thinking his life is perfect. Get it?
On weekends, the girls stayed with their father and stepmother in the city. They wanted to bring Charlie with them, but their mother said he'd miss the woods. Charlie's a country cat, she told them.
Yeah, you can't take him with. So this is a family where the mom and the dad don't live in the same house. And so they go and visit their parents their dad on the weekend. And that's literally, this book gives me a connection because I did that when I was little. I went and visited my dad's house. One stormy night, Charlie didn't come home. Elizabeth and Sarah stayed out on the deck, and called his name, but no Charlie. Where was he? Why wouldn't he come out of the woods? Was he all right? Oh no.
Oh no.
I think we might have hit the problem in the story. Remember how fiction stories a lot of times have a problem and then the writers get their characters out of the problem? Oh, is it you?
Yep. All night long, Elizabeth listened to the rain beating on the roof and the wind rattling the windows. Was he cold? Was he hurt? Where was Charlie?
Oh, poor things. They're so worried about him. He comes home every night. Why isn't he there? In the morning, Elizabeth and Sarah looked for him. They asked the lady down the road if she'd seen their cat. She said no and offered them cookies, but they were too worried to eat anything, even her chocolate chip cookies. That's pretty worried. They went to the new house on the other side of the woods. Have you seen our cat? They asked. His name is Charlie. He's very fat and has gray striped fur.
We have a cat with gray striped fur, said the man. Uh-oh. But his name's not Charlie. It's Anderson. He's upstairs asleep on our bed. They heard a meow, and downstairs came a very fat cat with gray striped fur. Charlie! Sarah and Elizabeth cried. No, that's Anderson, said the woman. We've had him for 7 years, right, Anderson? He looked at her and began to purr.
So what do you guys think is going on here? I think old Charlie's been living in 2 houses.
Yeah.
He's been living at one house in the night and one house in the day. But it's Charlie, Sarah said. He looked at her and purred louder. Is he ever here at night? Elizabeth asked. Anderson's a hunter, said the man. He prowls the woods at night. Charlie sleeps in my bed at night, Elizabeth said. He leaves for the woods after breakfast. Anderson comes home after breakfast time, said the woman. He leaves right after dinner. They all looked at the cat. He sat at their feet, very happy and very fat. They now call him Charlie Anderson. Because he's both cats. He's the same. He's been living in 2 houses, just like those girls. I always thought that was a good little connection there. Pretty cool. And that's why he's so fat.
Yes,
he's eating
he's
dinners.
eating double.
Yeah.
Sometimes in bed at night, Elizabeth asks him, who do you love best, Charlie Anderson? And she can hear him purring in the dark.
I think he loves all his family members. What a lucky cat to have 2 families that love him. Just like Elizabeth and Sarah, Charlie has 2 houses, 2 beds, 2 families who love him. He's a lucky cat. And you can see the picture of the 2 families that the girls have, with dad and with mom. And then Charlie Anderson has his 2 families. And that's why this book is called Charlie Anderson. Isn't that a cute one?
So
but
cute.
This could really happen. So this is what we call realistic fiction. And this one really couldn't happen. This is just fiction. Okay? So we thought we'd show you guys the difference. And I hope you guys enjoyed these 2 books.
Bye.